Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today. Today, we're going to be recapping day 2 of free agency for the Houston Rockets. As we're talking about everything: free agency, the trades we made. Today was a wild day for the Rockets. It was move. I mean, there was like at one point there was like a minute where we made like 3 moves in 1 minute or like a minute and a half. It was like we signed Dylan Brooks, we signed Jock Landale, and then we traded for Patty Mills, and it was like all in the same minute. Shams like announced it all in the same minute. It was going crazy for Rockets fans today. All right, so I was thinking of what should I talk about? Let's go over the trades first instead of free agency. And then we'll get to the signings. Rockets made 3 trades today. They made 3 trades, and then they made 3 signings. Or sorry, 4. 4. And then that was it. So first trade they did. They sent Ty Washington, Usman Garuba, and a second-round pick to the Hawks for some player, some European player. I don't remember his name, but it's like he's not even in the NBA. And I don't think it means much for the Rockets. I can't remember his name. But basically, the Rockets traded Ty Washington and Usman Garuba and a second-round pick for nothing. I get Rockets fans might be upset about this move, but this was a smart move for the Rockets because, they're clearing out some of the young guys. Yes, we still have some of our young core. You still have Jalen, you still have Jabari, you still have LP, you still have KPJ and Tari Eason from last year's core of young guys. Oh, and Jayshawn Tate as well. And now you've added in Amin Thompson and Cam Whitmore, so those are like the young guys around the roster. But now you've built a bridge between the young guys and you've taken out some of the younger guys who could kind of probably be moved, and it wasn't going to hurt us. And you added in veterans with these young guys to help these guys learn how to play. I mean, because I just thought honestly, like, the Rockets were good. The Rockets as a team weren't good, but Jalen had a good season. So did Alp, and so did Jabari, so did KPJ. But I still think this team needs veteran experience next to them, and the Rockets have done that. They've added in Fred VanVleet yesterday. They added in Dylan Brooks yesterday. They added in Jeff Green. I think that's going to be one of the most important signings to the Rockets. It's not going to show up in the stats because he's not going to play a lot, but it's going to show you his he's going to show you his veteran experience off the court and when he's on the court, which won't be a lot, but we'll see. So that trade was the first trade. I mean, and this was a good move for the Rockets because you clear cap space by getting rid of Ty and Usman, 2 players I loved for the Rockets, but let's be honest, Ty or Usman had no chance of playing in the rotation next year. You open up 2 roster spots. You cleared $5 million in cap space by doing this. You created a trade exception. This was actually, and you give Ty Washington and Usman Garuba a potential chance of playing next year, which they honestly had no shot of doing that for the Rockets next year. So, and it's actually kind of funny how many players the Hawks have on the Rockets. I mean, how many players have we traded to the Hawks before? Last year we traded them Bruno Fernando and Garrison Matthews. 2020 we traded them Clint Capella, and Nene's obviously not on the Hawks anymore, but we traded him to the Hawks. So they got 4 former Rockets. They got Capella, they got Matthews, they have Fernando, they have Garuba, and now they have Washington as well. So might as well change their name to Atlanta Rockets. All right, second trade the Rockets did was trade for Patty Mills of the Brooklyn Nets, who I love this move for the Rockets, but sadly the Rockets would not keep Patty Mills. This was not, Rockets had no, the Rockets had no expectations to keep him. The Rockets would end up sending Patty Mills and Josh Christopher to the Memphis Grizzlies in a sign and trade that sent Dylan Brooks to us on a 4-year, $80 million deal, sign and trade. So Josh Christopher and Patty Mills go to Memphis. Memphis has a lot of guards, man. They got point guards. They have 5 point guards. I know Jaw's suspended for the first 25 games, but even they still have a lot of point guards, even with Jaw suspended. But when Jaw's back from suspension, here are their point guards: John Morant, Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose, Patty Mills, and Josh Christopher. You could maybe move Josh Christopher at the shooting guard position, but he is more of a point guard. They really do have 5 point guards on their roster. I would expect one of them to get cut. It's not going to be Derrick Rose. It's obviously not going to be Marcus Smart or Ja. Well, who knows, depending on what he does. So I think Memphis might move on from one of Josh Christopher or Patty Mills. I love both players, but if they're going to move on from one of those guys, I hope it's Patty Mills, because Patty Mills can bounce back from that. Everybody knows, Josh Christopher's a good player. He needs to be on a new team, and but who knows? Maybe Memphis does run with 5 point guards next season, or maybe moves Josh at the shooting. Well, I think eventually once Jock comes back, Smart will move to the shooting guard. Maybe Josh does the same thing. So that's gonna be interesting to see for Memphis next year with all those guards. But I wish Josh and Patty the best. I know Patty was only here for a few hours, didn't even fly here. But I honestly think he would have been a great fit for the Rockets. If you had in Jeff Green with a veteran experience, it would have been like the many Nuggets having Patty Mills and Jeff Green on our roster with, veteran experience, the young guys learning from them. But Rockets had no intention to keep Patty Mills, sadly. So Patty Mills goes to the Grizzlies. So does Josh Christopher, and the Rockets sign Dillon Brooks to a 4-year, $80 million deal. Then the final trade the Rockets would do would be sending KJ Martin to the LA Clippers for 2 second-round picks. I like this trade for the Rockets. It sucks giving rid of KJ, but we knew that KJ was going to be, he was going to be traded. He's one of the things that makes him, less, not as expensive as he probably would be if he was, he's an expiring contract. And you also by doing this move, you get something for him, because honestly, with KJ being a free agent next year, I don't think he would. I thought there was no chance with him re-signing. So you get 2 second-round picks for him. Not only do you get 2 second-round picks for him, you open up minutes for some of the younger forwards and Tari Eason. Minutes are gonna. Tari Eason is now gonna get more minutes on this Rockets team. I know you added in Dillon Brooks, but now you got more minutes for guys like Jayshawn Tate, Cam Whitmore, and Tari Eason off the bench, and clears a roster spot. Those guys can be a part of the rotation next year, and Jayshawn, Cam, and Tari. So, and you get 2 second-round picks for a guy who was definitely going to leave you in free agency next offseason. So yeah, and then to free agency, the Rockets signed. Well, the first signing we made, which is not a big signing at all, we signed Trevor Hudgens to a two-way contract. That's why I said we signed 4 players. So the Rockets have their 2 two-way contracts filled out for next season. Well, I'm sure the Rockets will probably sign someone else on a 2-way contract or something for like the preseason. Like a Exhibit 10 contract, and they can maybe try to fight for a 2-way contract with the Rockets potentially. But Trevor Hudgens and Darius Days were the 2 guys that were on a 2-way contracts for the Rockets last year, and both of them have been signed back to 2-way contracts again this year, and so it's looking like the Rockets are going to keep those guys, but I'm sure the Rockets are going to make them fight for those 2-way spots in training camp and preseason. But yeah, so moving on after that, the Rockets' next signing would be signing Dillon Brooks to a 4-year, $80 million deal in a signing trade. I love this move for the Rockets. People talk about how bad he is and how horrible he is. People overreact on that stuff, man. This guy averaged 15 points per game this year with the Grizzlies on 35% 3-point shooting. He's an all NBA defensive player, one of the best defensive guard, probably top 5 defensive guard in the NBA, and probably like a top 10, if maybe top 12 defensive player in the whole NBA. He's an excellent defender. You add, you have like a great defense now. You signed Fred VanVleet, a monster defensive player. You signed Dillon Brooks. You drafted Amen Thompson. You have Tari Eason, a good defender. Jayshawn Tate, a good defender. Cam Whitmore, a solid defender. KPJ, I think, averaged like 2 point something steals per game last year. He's a solid defender. You just gotta, and then you got Ime Udoka running their defense. And I forgot Jabari's shot blocking as well. Jabari's a monster shot blocker. The Rockets got a really good defense. I think Dillon Brooks is going to be really good for our defense next year, and he's going to also be really good for our offense next year as well. People, he underperformed in that Lakers series, but I bet a lot of people don't really realize that he averaged 11 points per game in that Lakers series. I mean, he did average 11 points per game in that Lakers series. I know for a guy who was supposed to do better, he definitely should have done better in that series. He trash talked for someone. Yes, I know he trash talked. I mean, that's his nature. He's like a Draymond Green. Like he's like a Draymond Green that is a guard and can shoot better and is not as good as a facilitator as Draymond Green is. He trash talks. He plays aggressive on defense. He's like defensively and trash talking. He's like Draymond Green. I know he talked a lot of crap and didn't have anything to show for it. That's why people think he's so bad. But he's a good defensive player. He's aggressive. He trash talks. What else? He's a solid he's a solid 3-point shooter, which a 35% 3-point shooter with the Rockets on how bad they were 3-point shooting last year. That's a good addition. The Rockets were horrible from 3 last year. One of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the year in the NBA last year. So I love that addition for the Rockets getting Dillon Brooks. I really do. I mean, yes, it was an overpay, but with the Rockets, we have to overpay everybody we sign. Then the next signing would be Jock Landale to be the backup center. Oh my God, this is another move I just absolutely love for the Rockets. Jock Landale is going to be our backup center. He's a beast. This guy stepped up big for the Suns in the playoffs. DeAndre Ayton sucked, and this guy was big for the Suns in the playoffs. I don't have his playoff stats. I have his regular season stats. He averaged 7-5 in the regular season with the Phoenix Suns and only getting around he averaged 14 minutes per game with the Suns this season. I know LP is going to be running the 5, but Jock Landale is going to be getting more minutes on the Houston Rockets. I would expect Jock Landale will be getting in the area of 15 to 18, maybe 19 minutes per game for the Rockets next season. And also, I love LP, but, sometimes we do see him, every once in a while we'll see him, he'll miss a couple of games due to an illness. We'll see that happen. I mean, he missed, I don't know how many games he missed last year. Not all were due to illness, but I think there was like at least 2 or 3 games he missed last year due to being sick. So you see him, get sick a couple times, and you'll see him, need to take, not be able to play due to injury as well. Alpe's not going to be able to play all 82 games. We hope he can, but I don't think he will. So Jock Landale will also have some opportunities to get starts for the Rockets. So Jock Landale is going to be way better on the Rockets than he was the Suns. He was emerging for the Suns. He averaged it was like 6.8 points per game with the Suns last year. I just rounded it up to 7. And then like nearly 5 as well, was like 4.9. So if he averaged almost 7 and almost 5 with the Suns last year, and now on the Rockets, going to be getting more minutes. He averaged 14 minutes per game with the Suns last year. I would think for sure, Alpe's not going to get 34 minutes in a game. So Alpe could maybe get in the area of 29 to 32 minutes in the game in a game. So that gives 16 to 19 minutes for Jock Landale, which is in the area of 2 to 5 more minutes than he was getting in Phoenix. Not that much, but I can tell you in basketball, 2 to 5 minutes of playing time is going to be way different, and it's a bigger role for him. But I really like the signing. So we signed him to a 4-year, $32 million deal. I know it's another one that seems like an overpay, but at the same time, it's like 7.5 a year for all. It's 7.5 for every year, but the thing is that only the first year is fully guaranteed. So not every year is guaranteed. So that if he underperforms for the Rockets, he won't get all the money. So not everything is guaranteed. I don't know the exact number that is guaranteed for Jock Landale, but not all of it is guaranteed for him. So that was the second sign, the third signing we made. Then the fourth one was signing Jeff Green to a 1-year, $6 million deal. I love this signing for the Rockets. Averaged 8 points per game and 3 rebounds per game this season with the Denver Nuggets. He's a good defensive player. He's a good three-point shooter. He's a great veteran. He's going to be great on and off the court for the Rockets with their young guys and being a good leader and a good veteran experience. He's played with the Rockets before, averaged 12 points for the Rockets in like 25 or 30 games no, actually, he probably played less than that because that season was cut short, but probably played around 20 games with the Rockets in the 1920 season. And in those 20 games, averaged a little bit over 12 points per game with the Rockets in that shortened season because he came there and, oh, you know what? It's probably might have been less than 20 because he came to the Rockets in February, like after the trade deadline, and then was with us all the way until the season got canceled, and then played all 8 games in the bubble. So he might have played maybe a little bit more than 20, just depending on how many games he played before the season got canceled. But the bubble was 8 games in a season. But he averaged 12 points as well in the playoffs as well in our 2 series. We played a 7-game series against OKC and then a 5-game series against the Lakers. So in 12 games in the playoffs, he averaged with 12. So 12 games with the Rockets in the playoffs, and in the bubble, he averaged 12 points per game in those playoffs. And I know it's been 3 years, but he's still a solid player. He's better now. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, with the way this Rockets team is now, he's better. He's a better player now than he was 3 years ago. Because he's a way better veteran leader than he is now. Because when he was here before, the Rockets didn't have they had older guys. They didn't have any young guys. So it was a team build of vets and experienced players. So he didn't have to be a veteran leader like he kind of was in Denver. Now coming to Houston, that is what we need him to be, and I love this. I love that signing for the Rockets. He's going to be great for the Rockets on and off the court. He'll be more off than he is on, but he will be great for the Rockets off the court, veteran leadership and everything. So you guys have your thoughts on day 2 of free agency with the trades and the signings. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, Rockets fans. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace out. Go Rockets.